We'll give you a website here at the end of the program to learn more about the film and where you may be able to see it. Wynn, obviously this is someone you're very fond of just by listening to you here tonight, but why did you decide to make a film about Walker Percy?
Well, I've been fascinated with Walker for many years, and I think part of it is that he was a person who took ideas very seriously. He didn't, he wasn't interested in philosophy or literature to be educated per se or to appear educated. He was looking for things to incorporate into his own life, to sort of find a way to live. And that was very interesting for me as a filmmaker. Plus this fabulous sense of humor and this strange wry mix of Southern sensibility with this sort of this obsession or interest in European philosophers was just very tempting for me. And also his faith, and I was curious about that.
How did you decide to present the film? Rhoda talked earlier about going chronologically in reading his work. Is the story told chronologically?
It is. I was sort of daunted with the task of making a film about Walker in a lot of ways, and I sort of decided early on to make it a conversation. I wanted to involve people that had written about Walker or thought about Walker a great deal, or people that that were related to him as friends and family. And so it really is, in a lot of ways, a continued conversation about Walker.
Assuming you had a good base knowledge going in, what did you learn? Did you go back and reread to refresh your own memory? And what did you learn about him that you didn't know while making the film?
I learned a great deal. I mean, reading Walker's books and reading about Walker, he points you in all kinds of different directions. It's almost like an education in a sense. But one of the things I was struck by was the consistency of his thought. He sort of, in the 1950s, he wrote these philosophical essays. Mm-hmm. Those same themes in those essays follow through sort of even to his last novel written in the 80s, The Thanatos Syndrome. To me, that's just remarkable. That's one thing. The other thing is from reading some of his novels, I sort of thought he had this sort of dark worldview, and I found that I was, in some sense he did, but there was great joy in his life, and that was interesting to find.
Rhoda, one of those joys you mentioned, his children.
Yeah. And also the heartbreak, though, when Anne was born mostly deaf, but that, I mean, Walker would have, I think, given her as much attention as Mary Pratt, his oldest daughter, but his interest in language and the importance it had in his own life as Anne was acquiring language and being deaf, and the tie-in to Helen Keller, and I won't get into the triadic, but just the theory of language made it all very important, and he loved his kids, and it was very evident.
Is there a favorite moment in the film for you, Rhoda? And then I'll ask Wynn this question.
I was amazed at how well Wynn was able to draw out the different people that spoke and who knew him or had written about him. So I really think, and the whole movies were wonderful, but hearing someone like Robert Coles put into words with his humor and his brilliance what he thought of Walker. So maybe it was the Robert Coles interview that moved me the most and made me think, you've captured it, this is wonderful, and it's down, and Wynn has it, and everybody can get it.
One of the major roles Rhoda played was providing some of the images you'll see in the documentary as well. Wynn, favorite moment for you?
I think there are several. I mean, as Rhoda alluded to, the section on language I really enjoy. I guess my favorite moment is when Walker finally writes The Moviegoer. He's in New Orleans. He's on Milan Street. He's finally sort of found his own voice as a writer, in a sense, as a novelist, I should say. I think that's probably my favorite moment.
What do you think watching the film will help readers understand him, Rhoda?
No question about it. It's a wonderful introduction for those who don't know about him or know that whether they want to read him. It gives a. I mean, I'm amazed at the job Wynn did, and was glad that the family was so generous in supplying with all that they did. But yeah, it's a remarkable accomplishment, and it has not been done in the world. Here it is, and there are many, many European countries that love Walker Percy, and so this movie is highly important.
There wasn't another movie about Walker Percy, for the record, so this was the starting place. Walker Percy died in May of 1990, prostate cancer. When do you think he would have liked the film, and why or why not?
I hope so. I mean, it was difficult not to think of Walker while I was making the film and what he might think of the film. I mean, Walker wrote about the media, about the sort of evacuation of meaning that comes through being sort of overwhelmed by TV and even documentary films. So I did think of him a great deal while making it, and I hope so. I hope he did enjoy it. He would have enjoyed it.
Well, finally, let's talk about the Walker Percy Center at Loyola University. Rhoda, what is the Walker Percy Center, and when did it open?
It opened officially in March of this last year.
2010.
2010, yes. And with a preview of Wynn's movie and a panel and an invitation to people to go view the archives at Loyola that had of their Walker Percy collection. And it's to foster literary talent and achievement and to highlight the key ingredient of good writing as necessary for a good education. And so Loyola is dedicated to helping people do better at that and have all kind of programs in place, reading series and symposia and panels and writing workshops, an institute for young writers in the summer. So a lot has already been done. I don't know how much time, but I mean there is.
And it will continue on.
Oh yeah, and it is open to the community. Every activity planned is open to the community, and we welcome everybody to come who can.
And just very briefly, there's a Loyola connection to another famous Southern writer. You mentioned Confederacy of Dunces earlier, John Kennedy Toole, right?
Yeah, and of course Walker was teaching at Loyola when that happened, so that was another reason why the center was named for Walker Percy, is his many connections to Loyola. And yeah, Confederacy of Dunces was one of the places that he tied in Loyola. It's a very perfect choice for Loyola to have picked Walker Percy, and I think he would have liked that.
Yeah, I asked Wynn if he would have liked the film, and then just before we started recording the program, you mentioned he may not have liked it necessarily. He may not have wanted you to do it while he was, may have taken a pass had he still been living, just because of humility and those sorts of things. But what would he have thought about naming a center after him, do you think?
Well, I think that he would like it as a way to further the reading of his books that meant so much to him, and also as a way to create a community where people can come physically and use language and connect as human beings and talk about his ideas or their ideas. I think he probably, if he were alive, would not have spent much time there because he'd be doing his work. So I don't think it would be an ego trip, but I think he would appreciate what it's going to do for the world.
Very good. We are out of time, but I want to give people two websites to learn more about the documentary film and more about the Walker Percy Center at Loyola University. To learn more about the film, you can go to www.walkerpercymovie.com. You'll learn about showings there and other details about the film. And to learn more about the center, you can go to loyno.edu/WPC. That's the Walker Percy Center at Loyola University. I want to thank Wynn Riley and Rhoda Faust. You've been great guests. It's been a very interesting program. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Much.
And we hope you will go out and learn and read Walker Percy. That is our program for tonight. We appreciate you and your support of our program, Greater New Orleans, and our station, LAE. More than television.